Hey, it's Mike from 424recording.com, and in today's video we're going to talk about the Tascam 424 Mark III's inputs 7 and 8. So one thing I think is confusing about input 7 and 8 is that it's only actually this area that is input 7 and 8's controls. For the rest of these channel strips, it's from the top all the way to the slider, because everything below this is the monitor select, and then the controls below that are the master fader. So looking at the stereo input of channel 7 and 8, you can connect to any stereo line level signal, a keyboard, a synthesizer, or like an effect return. And also you can actually connect two mono line level signals, which is interesting in itself. Perhaps one of the more useful features of the stereo input is the fact that it has a mono feature, which allows you to only connect the mono signal of any line level signal, even a bass, for instance. And if you connect that mono signal to the left jack and leave the R jack unconnected, the signal is automatically taken to both channels. You're able to bypass the stereo feature and make it another mono line level input like the rest of the inputs on the device. So obviously, because it's a stereo channel that only has one knob, the level knob will adjust the level of both signals. So if you do use it for two separate mono signals, keep in mind that you're only going to be able to adjust their levels independently before they go into the machine. And then the assign switch is pretty straightforward, although it's confusing. Basically sends the signal of the stereo input to left R is to the mix for recording. Off is obviously turns the signal off. And then mon is actually monitor mix, not mono, which is where I think it's confusing. And like I said before, I think this whole area of the machine is just confusing because, for instance, all the rest of these channels, this entire strip controls channel 6. But on this side of the machine, 7 and 8 is only controlled this knob and this switch that we just covered. This area is just confusing because on the rest of the machine, it follows that this entire strip would be for 7 and 8, but it's really only this trim knob and this switch. Let's look at an example of how to hook up a stereo device or stereo effect to input 7 and 8. Right now I'm using my Boss Digital Dimension DC3, which is basically a chorus pedal. It has an output A and an output B to use it in mono or stereo. This is how you go about hooking up effects pedals. This is output A, the green cable, which is going into the 7 mono position of channel 7, 8. Output B, the red cable, is going into 8, or the right stereo channel of channel 7 and 8. The device itself, the input, is being plugged into effect send, effect 1 send, and that's the gray cable. So this effect is now patched into the machine. I can obviously adjust my levels on my pedal to get my desired effect, and then simply by using this knob, I can control the trim or the volume of the effect of the pedal. If I want to monitor my sound that's coming out of this pedal, I can simply plug in my headphones and adjust my sound and hear what I got going on. That's not going to be recorded. Off is going to turn the effect off, and assign LR is going to be how I can record my sound. So if I assign it to the left, right, I'm sending this signal to the stereo mix for recording. Just keep in mind that obviously because it's a stereo effect, it's going to need 2 tracks to maintain the stereo sound if what you're going for is like true stereo. And one more cool thing about patching in effects this way is now I can use the effect 1 knob to dial in how much of my effect I hear on a specific track. I hope this gives you an idea of how to start exploring input 7 and 8 for yourself in terms of your synthesizers and stereo effects. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, you nerd. This is Mike with 424recording.com. Godspeed, my friend. Let me know what your experimentations with input 7 and 8 entail. I'd be curious to hear. Peace.